Okay, I'd like to bring the meeting to order at 6:31. Diane Harris isn't here today, so unless somebody else volunteers, Jackie will take the minutes for the day. Are there any guests or new members? And gentlemen in the back, I'm not familiar with you.
I'm just a guest.
A guest, okay, so what is your name?
Bob Lowe, Lowe.
Okay, welcome to the club.
That was good.
Hopefully you decide to become a member. Okay, and we don't have any other new members. Okay. 6:31.
On the
All right. Online we have Tom Sherry and Larry, and I'm assuming only Larry because Mary Jane's here. But I don't see Mary Jane. All right, so everybody here, if you did not get a chance to read the minutes, they're up at the front table. Did everybody at the Zoom, Larry and Tom, did you have a chance to look at the minutes? All right, then if somebody wants to make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes, okay, Wendy is making that motion.
Michelle is second.
And Michelle is seconding it. And all in favor of waiving the minutes?
Aye.
Okay, so that we're gonna waive the reading of the minutes. So now we vote on whether we want, is there any discussion on the minutes? Okay, now we're gonna vote to approve the minutes. Anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I make
That's
a motion
MJ.
to approve the minutes.
And second on that, we got Mary, unless you're asking a question.
Tell you what the date on the minutes is wrong.
Is it?
Yeah, it's gonna be 8/7.
Mine says the 7th.
It should be the exact same date as March, because February and March have the
I
same
might
date.
have printed out the ones over here that she didn't update, so I will talk to Diane about it and have her correct that. All right, so correct date to was that February? Yeah, February 8th. Okay. So all in favor of accepting the minutes with the exception of correcting the date, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nice hearty no. Okay, it's passed. Did we do the motion and second on that? Oh yeah, I'm jumping ahead. All right, so moving on to the treasurer's report. So Mary, would you like to read the treasury report? Me?
Balance as of February 7th was $4,389.60. Income coming in $40, and that was donations. Money going out, Best Lego was $20. The demo by Alec Lacassi, $100. And the rent for February was $40, so that was a total of $160. Checkbook balance as of today is $4,269.61.
Thank you.
Okay.
Does anybody want to make a motion to accept the minutes as read? I see Wendy and then the second from Rose. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, they got more money than they need.
And all in favor, I was busy writing. All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, and opposed? Okay, that's accepted. All right, my first order of business I wanted to talk to you about our bylaws. I don't know, has everybody gotten a copy of the bylaws or had okay, so I can email you a copy of that.
Okay.
I did include them a copy.
Oh, it's in the email today. Did you get to this today's email? Okay, it should be on there. But
I
what,
haven't gone to my email today.
okay, so you do have a copy of the old one, because I just sent it, or Jackie did, to everybody. All right. So this is the old one. Right now, it's an electronic copy that you all got. And on page 6, it'll say that it's been revised or reviewed every couple of years. And it hasn't been reviewed since 2017. And so I was looking it over, and I'm thinking we need to do some revisions to it, minor revisions. What I just passed out is the proposed changes to the Lakeside Palette Club Constitution and bylaws. And what is, I'll email this to everybody after the meeting, but I wanted to talk about it now. And after it says in bylaws, after written notification, any proposed alteration, addition, or amendments to the Constitution or bylaws, which is this, may be made at any business meeting by 2/3 votes of the members present. But I have to give you a printed copy, and then we'll vote on it at the next meeting. So you can, review it, see what you think. On page 2, they have mentioned, on page 2, we've got the board of directors, which is totally changed now. Committee chairpersons, which is not necessarily what we have now. And galleries and chairmen. And so I would like to propose one of two things. We can either leave that page blank and then have an updated list of the members. That's going to be an insert into the book. Or since most people are going to be getting electronic copies, I can just leave it in there if we get permission from the group that every year we're going to edit that page without getting approval to keep it updated.
Yep. Yeah, yes.
Okay, so second one better
Yeah,
where with
yeah.
electric. And on any paper copies I have, I'll just print it out for it to go inside rather than to redo the whole thing if it's still valid.
Yeah.
Fine. So then on page 3, under exhibits, general information, great bottom, it says the shows at the Anton Art Center that we have, it's a group it used to be a group of 4 clubs, us and 3 others. Well, now it's us and 4 others because I think it's Shelbytown joined us. So I thought we'd change that to make it accurate.
Yeah.
So under page 4, under non-judged exhibits, I would like to replace the Adult Education Center on Masonic on Elmira, since we're no longer on. And then we no longer have exhibits at the senior center, to the best of my knowledge.
No.
So I just thought we'd cross that off. Unless we can get them to let us. And then we can put it back in again. All right, so then page 4. Yeah, all right. Now to page 6. Very top. Oh, that's because all the dates of when the revisions are. And so I would just be adding on the date that we revise it if it's voted in. So
Yes.
that's like a really minor change. And page 8, if everybody remembers, we voted to increase the dues. And the amount of the dues isn't in the bylaws, but the amount for the spouses is. And it's listed as 5, but we voted to make it 10.
I have a son that's interested in art too. My husband's interested in music. And I was wondering if I could add him, because I've been paying like an extra fee, a whole membership fee for him to be in the club. I was wondering if I could pay the $10.
Well, he's a grown.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because otherwise I could get Jackie in for $10 too.
Okay.
No.
All right. No, Just a question.
Although he can be in the board and he doesn't have to pay dues, or you
Well,
can join the board and you don't have to pay dues.
All right, he's so busy, he's a teacher at Livonia.
Question was, if your spouse doesn't want to join, but you have a child that wants to join, can you add them for $10? And the answer, I believe, should be no, because it's so crazy.
Yep.
And so there's any discussion on that? All right.
Sounds good.
So that's changed from $5, and then crossed off is going to be less than 1/3 of annual dues paid by his or her active member partner, and it's going to be just 1/3 of annual dues paid by his or her active partner. So,
You need to
talk about students.
5 or 10 bucks.
yeah, but that's not in the that's not written in on the bylaws.
But shouldn't it be?
We don't have the dues in the bylaws, and that's up to the membership. Does the membership think that we should put the amount of the dues in our bylaws? And then if we ever change it, we just have to change the bylaws, which is easy enough to do.
That would be very good. People that looked at your bylaws, they know exactly how much it would cost for your membership.
Okay, so we'll vote on that next week, but I can add that onto my list of potential changes.
Troubles are closed down
Put in,
before they did that.
uh,
I said that.
and that's it for this. So I will mail out that list that I sent you guys, and it'll go out to the whole membership, and we'll vote on that at the next meeting.
Do we keep these papers?
Pardon me? You can keep those.
Okay.
That'll be helpful for you when you're
Yeah.
reviewing it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So moving on, dues collection, our fiscal year runs from June 1st to May 31st. So we're not from January to December. We're from June to May. So we have to start paying your dues. Now, so you can start paying it here if you want on April, at our April meeting, you can just pay me, come in, and somebody here help her. Oh, I'm sorry, or Debbie's membership chair. So, you can pay Debbie. I'm thinking the money goes to Mary. So, but no, okay, you can bring your money to Debbie. Or if you're not going to be present, or you didn't want to pay at the meeting, and you can always pay at the May meeting too if you're not here in April. But if you want, you can always mail your membership form into Debbie, and the membership form is on the on the website. But
Send out an email to everybody anyway. I just haven't done it yet. I worked on it.
okay, so Debbie will be sending out an email to everybody. Okay, so that'll make it easier on everybody. All right. We have a nominating committee, and a lot of you might have already heard from them. It's Michelle and Diane, and they're still working on it. And they should have a ballot proposed by the next meeting, and then you'll be able to review it at that point. But we won't be voting until the May meeting. Paintouts. Me and Michelle will be figuring out the locations for the paintouts. We do have the dates, but we're going to fill in with the dates. The dates are the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays in June, July, and August. So those are going to be the dates, and then I'll send out a list after we pick out the places. But here are some proposed places that we already had submitted to us, and that's, or old places that we've been, is Detroit Zoo, Selinsky Green Farmhouse, Metro Nature Center, Ford House, Wabi Park, Belle Isle, and And in my yard, I got a butterfly garden that was suggested, maybe I want, if they can go to my yard, and, I got a gazebo and a butterfly garden. So, if you have any suggestions that you think would be a good place for us to do our,
George Park.
oh, okay.
We've
We've been there before, I think.
Was that it? Sounds.
George Park, I don't know what
Never
city
been.
that is.
It's
It
in
used to be
Moravian.
where Sterling Heights,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's
I know.
Township. one of those.
On Grossman.
It's between
In
Gross, it's
Cass.
on Moravian, the entrance to the park is on Moravian, it's just
Okay.
south of Cass.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that park.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Very
Got a
nice.
huge fountain.
Oh,
there.
yeah, that's nice there. Yeah. that's nice too.
All right, so, so if there's any other suggestions on where we could do paint outs, you can either tell me now or you could tell me in the next few days. Because this month is when me and, Michelle are getting together. We haven't come up with an exact date that we're getting together, but it should be soon. The call for entry. Did you mail those out? I think you did.
Yes,
It was
she
with the
did.
newsletter, right?
There is on the application, it was, pointed out to me that I did not change the date from last, I edited everything in the last document, so it says fall 2021, but you can just cross that out, right? Bring it 2022. Sorry about
Okay, I don't know if anybody heard that, but there was an error in the call for entry. And it says fall of 2021, and you just cross that out and put
The right
spring
here.
of 1922.
1922?
Yeah.
2022.
These dates are really getting us.
You know,
So if anybody needs a hard copy, it's at the desk right now. And, so then, the non-judged exhibits. One of the things I found going through the bylaws is in that section that I said that we have to update all the time. They have a list of galleries and chairmen. And I crossed out Dimitri's because Dimitri's is out of business.
Yeah.
Now Mary, is Karis is still around?
No, they're doing their own thing. They redecorated.
Okay. So Karis isn't in. Rose is gonna look into Palmer's. And the prosecutor's office, I'm thinking Robert said he was interested in doing that, but I don't see Robert here, so I'll have to ask him. Don't hesitate to ask businesses that you see, and if they would like to, especially if it's a new business and they don't have a lot of stuff on their walls, if they would like to have art from the Palette Club displayed on the walls. Now it can be go on.
I think that would be a fun trip for me and someone else to go do. Just kind
Oh,
of
just
go.
canvas places.
Just kind of, take an afternoon, kind of. I mean, obviously, I would go by myself if I could drive.
All right, here, where's there we go? Michelle just said that she thinks it would be a great, go ahead and talk. You
Oh,
can-
just that, I mean, it would be a great afternoon drive to go to different places, down Jefferson maybe, and then come back up Harper and just ask if they would be interested, give them a card.
June?
Turn around and do it.
All right, thank you. That sounds like an idea, or anybody else wants to do that.
June,
Yes.
at Beaumont, they have a nice gift shop there. And I'm wondering if we couldn't put some of our really good artists in that little gift shop. Would be worth somebody maybe trying to liaison with them.
Okay, well, if you would like to approach them, that'd be great, or if somebody else wants to volunteer
I'll
to
go
do
with
so. Michelle says she'd go with you if you drive.
Well, I'll give it some time. Like I would talk to them. I don't know if I can do it this week, but yeah.
All right, did you hear that? She doesn't know if she can do it this week, but yeah, that'd be great.
My
We do also have the opportunity, and I didn't put it on my list here, but the rainy day, they accept, you just tell them that you're with the Lakeside Palette Club and that you would like to have your art. They would charge a commission for the sale, so the club won't take. If you have your art in, let's say Karis Brothers, because they're no longer here. If your art's in Karis Brothers restaurant and Karis Brothers isn't taking a percentage of the sale, they're just doing it because they like to have the art on the walls, then the club gets 10% of the for commission because it's a club gallery. But at rainy day, because they charge commission to the members who have their paintings up there, the club will not take a 10% in addition to that. So that's our policy for the commission. So and I believe rainy day is charging more than 10%. We're pretty cheap.
That is cheap.
So yeah, so keep it in mind now that things are opening up. There might be businesses that are willing to have their art, have art or interest in having art on the walls.
I can ask the New Baltimore Trade Center if they would be willing to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
they're always looking to make a little bit of money and they get a commission on the art.
That's right. You got a lot of
Wouldn't
money
mind
going
having some displayed on the walls there. So
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
I'm sorry, this weekend.
So I don't know if you guys can hear it, but Debbie said that, you could hear Debbie? That, okay, at Baltimore Trade Center. All right. Is there any more discussion on that? Well then, moving on to Michelle, would you like to say anything? You just grab that.
Hi, everybody. Oh, no, I just have to say I'm excited. We got Martine.
No, you got the judge, you got all your lineup.
Yep, I got
Is that
that.
something new? I don't know if anybody heard about.
Oh, Ardbog?
Yeah.
Yes, we have her for a judge. She's got a pretty nice bio. And then next month we have that Jen coming in and doing her pottery with the glass. And then Valerie Allen, yeah, she gets her glass out of the Detroit River and then puts it into pottery and different stuff.
Wow.
So I got her, and then May is Valerie Allen. So I heard she's good. I haven't met her, but I heard all you guys know who she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see that. And then besides that, we're just going to be working on the paint-offs.
All right, yeah, great. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
And next is Wendy. Do you have anything you'd like to talk about?
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
I don't care if you like it or not.
I wouldn't have minded.
So I know you guys all, if you don't know already, we had a very nice article that was published by Grosse Pointe News. Donna Zetterlund is the reporter. And so this is the actual article, which is, I put it on Facebook and
Posted on my Facebook.
it's nice. It shows all the nice things and, you know, we're very active. And I think that's really cool that it highlights all the different things that we do.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then just, we have, I'm taking all your notes. And
Is that right? Is that green one's not?
Okay, so then I'm gonna be working on some stuff for the upcoming art show, and then announcing our April meeting, and that's it for now. So,
All right.
Sounds great.
Okay. And then if you would like this, because you're painting it.
Yeah, that's what I
Thank
said.
you. I had somebody bring it, but I'll take another copy. That'd be great. Thank you.
That's nice.
All right, thank you, Wendy. And Jackie, corresponding secretary. Get it on
So-
here.
As was mentioned earlier, there's a misprint on the date on the call for entry. So I will go ahead and edit it and resend out the digital copies if you haven't printed it out already. But if you printed it out, if you just cross it out and write in spring 2022, that'll be sufficient. So we just know that is which show it is for. It's just on the back on the entry portion, which goes to Mary. And I believe that's it.
Okay, this, thank you, Jackie. And Debbie, do you want to talk about anything? Jackie can pass the pad along to you.
No, I don't have anything. I've already talked about the dues, and anytime you wanna pay it, you can pay it today if you want to, or bring it next month, or send it to me. I'm gonna be sending an email out to everyone anyway, so if you wanna send it to me, fine. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, standing committees. I guess there are standing committees because we have all these chair people. And Denny's the historian, and I know that's true. And me and Michelle are doing the paint outs. Photography, I put you down as our photographer because you're doing our photography. All right. Past president is Denny Mativier. The studio painting, I've got Robert Selwa. I don't know if Denny wants to continue it as well. So do you know that she wants to be still the chair for when we open back up at Blossom Heath? Well, I'll talk to her about that. And then the webmaster, Diane Harris, offered to be the webmaster. So, thanks to Diane. So, and in unfinished business, the Cool City sun statues, I put down on the thing star statues, but I think they're going to be sun statues, which are very similar, because the sun is a star. So if you haven't signed up yet, go ahead and sign up, because this week I'm sending the list in. So contact me right away if you wanted to be able to paint these statues. And it would be, if you're not sure, but you think you might like to do it, go ahead and sign up. Because what will happen is one of the people who purchase the statues might decide that they want to call you, and then you talk to them and you decide that what they want isn't something that's within the realm of your comfort. And then you say, I'm sorry, but this isn't right for me. Maybe you can call somebody else on the list. So if you're kind of interested in it, it doesn't even hurt to sign up, because it doesn't obligate you to do it if it's what they're asking for isn't right. But you can possibly do it with maybe a spray can of paint, or I was thinking acrylic paints, but somebody mentioned spray paints might actually do it well too. So it depends on what the owner of the statue wants. All right, so I've got that list here, but you can also email me, or actually email Lakeside Palette Club of St Clair Shores. So it's LPCOFSCS@gmail.com, and email me by tomorrow if you're interested in being put on the list, and give me your name, your email, and your phone number for the contact information. All right, so is there any other unfinished business that anybody wants to talk about? Okay, how about new business? Is there any new business anybody would like to talk about? And in that case, it's come to a close. Is there anybody that would like to make a motion to adjourn? We got Wendy. And then Debbie's seconding it. We're all in favor of adjourning the meeting. Say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Oh, and
So, thank you for inviting me. I think this came through Mary.
yeah, sure did.
Mary was a student of mine, and I reminded Marianne that 2 years ago this week was the last time we had class on campus before everything shut down the following week. And then, so I was telling some of my students today, I taught all day today, and some of them were with me 2 years ago, and then this week we're like taking off our masks, and I said, wow. So guess what we did 2 years ago? This was our last class together. So how far we have come. Just to let you know a little bit about me, I'm an artist. I live in Allen Park. I have my studios in Dearborn. My studio's in Dearborn. And I have a couple of studio mates. We have a suite of rooms and we each take a little area and that's our studio. I graduated from Wayne State in, I always hesitate to tell my students because I think, and you can still walk in 1999. I got my master's degree in 1999 in art. And so I, at that point, declared myself a professional artist, and I'm still trying to strive for that to this very day. You know, what do they say? Life is short and art is long. And so I'm still trying to achieve my potential, shall we speak, even though I've been an artist a long time. One of the many hats that I've worn in the art field is that I've been an executive director, a gallerist, and a gallerist for a nonprofit regional art group, an art council. I did that for about 10 years. In 2010, I started teaching for Wayne County Community College. I've written for a local newspaper for a year. I wrote an arts column for them. And so that was kind of the fields I've been in. So I've been on the administrative end of art. I've juried many shows. I curated many shows. The last thing I've done was in January, was part of a big show in Dearborn. It was for a group that I do on Facebook called Art. That had been going on for 2 years. And so it had been an online support group for artists. And what we did in January is that for the first time, we went off of Facebook and we all got together with an art show. And I coordinated that, and there was over 50 artists in the show and over 90 pieces.
Wow.
And just as we were starting to set things up, and we we're going to have an opening reception, oh my God, we're finally together. And I get this little, can I speak to you for a minute? For the person who's like, kind of, whose auspices this is coming under. So it's at the Dearborn Foreign and Community Arts Center, Performing Arts Center on Michigan Avenue. And it's my friend Imogene. She says, I hate to say this, but you know about your opening, and I know exactly what she's going to say. I said, we probably can't have it, right? She goes, well, I'm the crown of it. It's okay. We'll switch gears and we'll have a closing reception. Because that's the nature of the whole thing we were doing. So we had a wonderful closing reception. We were able to get together, and this is how we saw the closing reception. And I recommend this if you do any kind of art show among yourselves. That night, I said, we're at the closing reception at 8 o'clock at night. You can take your pieces home with you. But before you take your pieces, we close the show by doing a champagne toast. And so I arranged for everybody to have a glass of champagne, champagne if they didn't want to drink. And at 8 o'clock, we stopped and we all toasted each other for getting through 2 years. And we just said, for me, for you, for us. And our show is called Resilience. And we said, choose resilience. And then we all drank champagne. So my excuse is anything for champagne. So a little bit about what I've been doing lately and what you are, and by me, so you know a little bit before I start talking about this. I just also want to put a plug in that next Sunday, the 13, at the Hannon House. Do you know where the Hannon House is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so at the Hannon House. At the Hannon House, and she'll tell you everything you need to know about that. There's a group of us artists. 2 years ago, in March, we had a show called When There Are Nine, and it was based on Ruth Bader Ginsburg comment. When will I stop pushing for 9 women justices when there are 9? Because no one ever said when there were 9 men. How come there's 9 men? So my friend Charlene Welton started this group. This is our second show, and we're at the Hannon House. A revisit, a reinterpretation of the Nines. The Nines are coming back at the Hannon House on this Sunday, the 313. And so I'm going to just do a little plug for that. Now, I'm going to tell me all about you. So I see 2 photographs, and if you could just tell me who, and tell me who you are. Tell me what it is you do. Is this typical? And tell me a little bit about your work.
Hi. Well, my name is Jackie Block, and I have, in the last couple years, just started doing digital photography. And so well, actually in the pandemic is when I started. So, you know, not going out so much, but, you know, being able to take my photos and kind of tell a story with them and kind of breathe some new life into my.
So when you say that you are telling, you want to tell a story, so do you intend for your work to have like a narrative that the viewer will bring to it?
Well, so it's open for interpretation. So like the sailing one with how the back kind of has the red and the blue and then the white. I titled it Sailing Forth. And
This one?
I like to take a lot of photos in the springtime. I just go out and I take a whole bunch of photos of everything in bloom. And then I have this beautiful photo of my son, and he's just showing off a bit of food, but like his expression in it was just. So I come in, and so it almost looks like he's a forest.
That's what I thought.
Looking out from the foliage. So.
It looks like the opposite of a shadow, where a shadow would be black with black. It's white.
Yep.
The feral child hidden in the
Yeah.
foliage.
But his eyes were just such
I have 4 grandchildren and not a single one of them is civilized. So I understand by the feral child. So does this one have a name, a title?
I had one this morning, and now I'm blanking on what I said. It was it was Forest Pixie.
Forest Pixie. Okay. So what I'm curious about is these look like you print these yourself?
Yeah.
And do you have ever printed them large?
My printer will print this size as the largest. So this is the largest that I have, although they're digital, so I could have them printed elsewhere to make them larger. But I've just limited myself so far. So I've only been showing the digital photography since like we've come out of the pandemic here.
And what did you do before?
I did some watercolors, some acrylics, some pottery. I do 3-dimensional pieces, but not for our club shows.
Okay. And do you guys have you have your club shows, but do you have them short, or are they just open, or are they both?
Straight.
Okay. So so the reason I ask about the size is I could see this particular print with an actually like a big 5-inch white mat, making the mat really, really big, so that the focus has to almost go into this to the face. And so if it were printed this size, I think that would be okay. You might also want to experiment with, I don't know whether all of your photography is printed glossy, or if you might want to explore printing on matte photo as well. Or you can print I think on Somerset watercolors.
Is there one in between there?
Yeah, I think there's Somerset. I think there's one called Somerset that I think is a softer. And you might want, so that's something that is very tender and soft. You might want to start going even bigger and exploring your materials out there and say maybe how would this look on a different kind of paper, because it's tender, and the fact that you do have done watercolor, you can almost get more like a watercolor,
way.
Yeah, but it would still be and all these things I'm telling you, you just take it with a grain of salt or a little bit of a feather, okay? Because what do I know? It's just my opinion.
You know what you know.
I just, so I listened to a little bit of Terry Gross today, and she was interviewing someone who does cartoons for the New Yorker. Did anybody hear that? And it was something about, and so there he did a little one of a king, and the king says, I don't know what I don't know anything about science, but I know what I like. I don't know anything about art, but I know what I like. So I would encourage you to explore if this is a medium you wish to continue, explore different possibilities.
Yeah.
With, it's even gonna stop me. I really wasn't gonna.
Oh, sorry, do you want a chair?
Yes.
No, I probably just need some water. You guys are making me so, not yet. I want to say something.
Oh, okay.
I got so you're right. I got so excited. I was going, it's only a paper ventilating because you guys made me so excited. Okay. And then I thought with this one, this would be interesting if this were a lot bigger, so that we had a set, like if this were like 4 times as big. So maybe one day you kind of treat yourself as an artist and you say, you know what, I'm springing for that money and I'm going to go get it printed bigger just to see the impact of that. So if you went to the Detroit Art Institute last year where they had Black is Beautiful, that exhibit of photographs, and where the photographs were, as big as like this wall, and just that impact of something really big. Mm-hmm. So I would look at your subject matter and play a little bit with size. Maybe it works with you, maybe not. Maybe just at least do it once. It's like, yeah. Marianne, what was her name again? What does she know? Okay, Marilyn. Yeah, Marilyn. Marilyn must have told me. I'm going to use that as my pseudonym. Okay, now we can. You can take it away.
Oh, she's on the job. I'll let her.
And is this artist here? And tell me your name and a little bit about your work.
My name is Mary Jane Lopez, and I like working in acrylics. And the piece on the left, my one friend.
This left?
Yes,
Okay.
over there.
Oh, stage left.
Yeah.
She said, my one friend said, that's depressing. But for me, it was healing with everything that's going on in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a photograph and felt that I wanted to do that.
So why did you feel this was healing?
It was a way for me to release the feelings that I have inside watching everything. I don't know why, but it helped.
Okay, so it was therapeutic for you to get these feelings. So it's not that this is a hopeful picture, but making it was some kind of a release for you. Now just tell us about this one.
Well, that one was just fun for me. And I painted in my head, I always wanted to do a puppeteer, and I wanted to have him standing there with puppets behind him that he's working on, and then one that he's training. And so I just kind of worked on it. The puppet, the marionette that the puppeteer is holding, though, is my husband.
Yeah, so it's not like you're the puppeteer, so what?
Kind of threw that in. Looks like him too. Yeah, and he has a glass of scotch.
I'm going to like your husband.
That's what like pencil head up there on top.
Well, that was just a goofy one that I wanted to create. I created my own. Yeah.
There we go.
And we have I should have done our dog, but we have a Yorkie who's always climbing on shoulders, but I turned it into a bunny. So you see a bunny over there.
You know the inside story with that one, with that guy over there.
But the one thing I generally do kind of free form painting, and then like you look up in the clouds and you see, oh, that looks like an elephant. And that's the kind of thing my more normal thing. To do more realism is harder for me. I struggle. And with that painting, I'll admit, the shelves getting them to line up. I noticed it, you probably, maybe you guys noticed it too. So I do have to work on that.
Oh, that they don't line.
Yeah, they're
Oh, I didn't notice till you said some.
And you know what? Now they're never gonna unsee that.
That's what my
You're
husband
missing part of
said. He
the
said,
in the back
don't
there,
say
too."
that.
Yeah, what happened to this
Yeah, there's a maybe a little part there.
Well, maybe it's
Well, I
not done.
wanted it free form.
Oh,
I
they're
wanted that.
they're floating shells.
They're floating.
And so let's go to this one because I want to just make a comment about the incredible power of art and which is to which you said you were tapping into to find some solace.
Yeah.
Some solace. And you know, there's a quote that says, art is to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. And that is the purpose of art. And I think you demonstrated it here. Some of the things we do because just for our soul, and it's the thing that we need to express that can only be expressed through images. My students will be doing a painting, the painting ones, toward the end of the semester, and it's called the Artist Choice, because all semester I set up still lifes, and they have to do what I tell them, and at the end, they could do whatever they want. And they say, like, whatever we want, and I said, well, yes, whatever you want, as long as there's no unicorns, fairies, rainbows, hearts, and the word love. You know, and I'm like, but you said anything, and I said, oh yeah, and no glitter. And they said, well, why not the word love? And I said, because if you have to write it down, if you're doing a painting and you have to write the word love on your painting is not successful as a visual. And painting is a visual language. And so then they're like, oh, okay, I get it. But can I just have a little unicorn? You know, like, no unicorns. No unicorns. Because they'll just go to the very, the very banal. Like, they won't put a lot of thought into it if I don't force them to do it. But and so you did. And so when you said your friend said that it was depressing, you said hopeful. I said, oh, how's it hopeful? And then you told me, and so you told me why.
Well, another thing too, I thought about putting like a burning building in the background. But, and in fact, I did do it. And then I painted over it because I thought the blackness kind of draws you in.
So one of the things that I'm often asked by people who are learning to paint or who don't know how to paint, how do you know when you're done? And I always say, when you get to the point where if you add more, you're just adding more. Yeah. Or if you take something away, you're doing what? You can't take anything away, or you can't anymore. Then you stop. And it's like when you put that flame in there, it was a little bit like spoon feeding somebody, right? And so could this be? So then when we look, and then he's got his little Ukrainian flag there. So you can't. But it can also be universal. So one of the things about art is that it can be timeless. And it can also be universal, right? It doesn't have to be about Ukraine. It could be about homelessness. It could just be about someone's parent who is fighting overseas themselves. It could be about a loss in this child's life. It could be about hunger. It could be about a bad dream. It could be about anything. And so that's one of the things as an artist that when we can tap into that, that's really good. That really makes it more accessible to the viewers, and it's something then will last a longer time going forward. So one of the things that I would, I don't know, do you like to use black right out of the tube?
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to give you a quick recipe for black that's going to make your paintings, if you like to use a lot of black.
Richer.
And that is take ultramarine blue and burnt umber. And you mix it until it is dark as it can get. And that is a black. Am I okay? Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I'm just setting this up because our next one's going to be from Deep Online.
Okay, that's okay. Great. I didn't know. You needed my attention. And if you mix those together, it will be kind of a neutral black. But if you wanted to take this and make this more of a blue black, because blue will push it back more, you just put more ultramarine. And if you want it to be a warm black, let's say you wanted to contrast this as a more blue black with the pants being more of a brown or warm black, which would pull it forward. All you need to do is put a squeeze of either one of those colors. And the really lovely thing about that black is when you add white to it.
Okay, then it would really pop.
It makes a gray that's really very versatile.
Okay,
So just a little bit to tell you. This is so charming. It looks like it comes from a children's illustration.
That's my goal.
Okay. And so your job is to never tell people what you did wrong.
I know.
They don't need to know, Mama. And so you can use that kind of black in here too.
Okay.
So, and then another little trick is that sometimes when I do fill in that black, and if I want to kind of give it more depth, is to take a glaze of like a alizarin crimson or like a violet and make a glaze out of it with some medium, and then just glaze it, and it just makes the light go through that other layer, and it will enliven your blacks a little bit.
Okay.
And you can do that with acrylic.
Yeah, if just to make a glaze with it.
Okay.
Yeah, use you can use like a glazing medium. I think Golden makes it, and just look at how much proportion of paint to glaze medium.
Fine.
And so,
Yeah, that's neat.
so what you're doing is you're kind of making it like stained glass, so that more light goes to it. Anyways, it really is absolutely charming. I love that you've included your husband in here
Too, and the dog.
and the dog, and even if you wanted to the dog that's now the rabbit, even if you wanted to, and even if you wanted to put like a little something right here, like the real dog, your other dog, like who's watching all of this, you can do it.
I wondered if I should put something.
Here's a little something I sometimes tell my students. Tracing paper is your friend. I might have told Mary Ann this one. Tracing paper is your friend because you can do something on a little piece of tracing paper and you can put it right over here and you can say like, yeah, I do like that. I don't like that. Or you could just you could do it like a little painting on a little piece of paper and acrylic, right? And you could just lay it down there. It's like, yeah, that is going to work. Or no, I'm so glad. And be acrylic. There is just so much layers under here that we will never, ever know.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's what I have to say about your spray kit.
Thank you.
Right, so we've got Tom Sherry who has some photos that he would like to have critiqued.
Can I see your photos?
Okay, this is it's
Black. Okay, and what is it a photo of?
okay. First of all, it's a photo of tiles that was taken at the art fair.
Yes.
And what I did was used a filter to kind of soften everything. And what I really ended up doing was liking the picture this way. Here.
Is it with the filter on that you liked it better? Can you hold them up side by side? Can you hold up both of them together?
Well, no, I mean it's the same photo, but
Sideways.
it was taken this way.
You're just turning it around. Okay.
Yes, it was taken this way.
Turn it around again. Tell them to turn it around again.
Turn it around. I like to show it this way.
I agree. I think it works better as a vertical.
Oh, wow.
It just seems to be more powerful, even though the objects on the tiles are a little, they're really horizontal. But anyhow, it's something that I reacted to. I like the color, and I just it works for me.
Hey, Tom, have you ever really thought about really going in and cropping it really tightly?
Sometimes I do, yeah, and it's always amazing the things you find when you do go in, and it's like a whole new experience.
And so what do you hope to, do you want to do more of these where you're taking pictures of things that are out there in the world, like these tiles?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
The microphone's over here, so tell him I want to know if he's going to do it.
We can just move.
Is he going to do more?
There we go.
Thank you. They're moving this a little closer so you can hear me. Okay, can you hear me better?
Much better.
Okay, there we go. So where do you hope to go with this? What do you hope to do next with your photographs? I'm gonna knock.
I just keep taking them, things that I like. I have one more,
Okay,
and this is a larger one. And the story of this is that this last year,
I'm gonna step out. Tom, I'm just stepping out of the way so that your other club members can see what you're showing.
okay.
Yeah.
The story of this is that last year, you know, I felt a kind of an awakening to possibilities, that, you know, things were coming a little back to normal, and I started working in the garden, and springtime became so important to me, and I started watching the flowers grow and the weeds grow and tending to the garden. And I just enjoyed it so much that I got so much out of it. And so I continually took photographs only in my backyard, and I kind of documented that without like traveling, because we weren't going out places, you know, we were staying at home. So my photographic venue was my backyard, and this is something that I just enjoyed. What I liked were the different kinds of plants working together.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, say again.
So we have three, you know, different kind of foliage growing together. So that was just something that I liked.
I think I respond more to the plant one, to the backyard one, than I did to the one of the tiles, because I really think that I like the idea of the story that you're telling, that you went to your backyard and found nature there, and found, you know, the beauty of the emergent spring in a time when it was really hard to find the focus. I like the implied textures of the leaves, of all the different leaves, the way that you kind of found those. Yep, yeah. You can show your fans again. So that you have these three different plants, and so you have a variety of leaf shape and textures, different shades of green. I had a friend from Kentucky who since passed away, but she used to say, "Y'all know God's favorite color is green. That's why there's so many shades of it." So, you helped remind me of my friend when I saw those shades of green in there. Keep up the good work, Tom.
Well, thank you. The tiles, you know, I just respond to as just a kind of a graphic, a colorful graphic. But the flowers and the foliage was just a response to nature, and I look so forward to this coming spring now.
Tom, do you read poetry?
No, I don't.
Well, I would recommend Mary Oliver or Wendell Berry. Wendell Berry, who wrote "When the World I'm paraphrasing, is overwhelming, I go to nature. I turn to the wild things." And you kind of remind me of a man that would turn to the wild things when the times of this world get too heavy.
Well, thank you.
All right.
And I wanted to thank you for the work you've done with the ATV.
Are you a member of our group?
I'm a member, yes.
I just told them about our exhibit, Resilience.
I heard that. I felt really bad that I didn't enter something. After, it's like I felt a little lethargic earlier, and I just admire what you've done, and I just wanted to say thank you. And I think you've done an amazing thing. And one of the first comments I made when you started that was, you opened up my world, my whole art world. You expanded my whole art world.
Wow, this was worth the price of coming all the way from Allen Park just to hear this. And when I go home, I'll write tonight's evening reflection. So take a look for it about 9:30 or so.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Tom. And so who does? Get up there. So tell me about you and your work. I'm gonna have a hard time finding anything bad to say about it. Okay, go ahead.
Well, the one on the right That was, I took a picture of the road to Taos, New Mexico. It was almost sundown. And it was just beautiful. The problem with this picture here are the trees on the left side. On the left.
On the left side.
The left side. Those trees, I think I made them too tall. And I need to make them shorter.
So I have it on good authority that the art police took today off. And are taking off tomorrow. So unless we have a photograph to compare this to, we are never going to know. Like your viewers are never going to know. If you say, but it's too tall, because I think that I could have a better sense of balance. That'd be one thing. So I'm not sure what it is that why you would say they're too tall, because they certainly the picture seems to be balanced. It doesn't feel like, oh, I wish there was more sky showing here. So I think that maybe it's just a personal taste for yours, that you wish that they were a little smaller, or is there any reason why you want them?
It just doesn't seem right.
You think perspective's off?
So
I don't think so at all.
So like, do you do this sometimes too, and see like,
No.
does it still seem off?
No, it's your composition.
Maybe the
Really? Yes.
frame
I've never
piece
been
on the
there.
bottom.
I never do.
Okay, maybe, you know, the other thing too is that maybe if there was a little something in here that kind of showed us, maybe if the trunks had a little bit of light on them or something, so that they don't kind of disappear here into these trees here. Maybe just a little bit of changing the value a little bit in here. But what this has done, by the way, I don't know whether you know whether this was intentional, but these here and this here makes this lovely little wedge shape.
Yeah,
That little arrow, this little arrow that kind of, you know, directs our eye almost down into the stream, and then the stream carries us down. And are you a pastelist more, or and is this?
That's what
I
people
do everything.
I have. I wasn't it oil paint or acrylic? I know. I'm sorry.
that one's oil.
I'm sorry if I'm smelling here. At least I didn't look at. But do you do more painting or do you do more pastel?
Lately, I've been working with pastel, but I like oil better.
I started as pastel, and then I went, and then I went into painting. I think that you have been doing this a while, and that you really understand your materials and how to use them, and I think how to create a very effective and evocative painting that, you know, makes you feel like you're right there. And you capture, and I know this area, I love New Mexico and Santa Fe and Taos and all that. And people don't realize that it's not desert if you haven't been there. And there is going up into the mountains, there is a lot of this. And you really have managed to capture a time of day, a season, and a feeling. And to think you did it with color, what's pastel? Colored chalk and pigment put in some bunch of oil. And that's magic right there. So keep going, and I hope you come back to the Detroit Society of Women Painters and Sculptors and start exhibiting your work again. And Jack, does this not say Michelle? Michelle, this looks like a cover of a rock and roll album. Is that good?
Sure.
Or a poster. Like that's like Ruby.
Yeah, well,
What were you thinking?
okay, well, this one, I was home alone at night, and I was supposed to go out, and someone didn't come and give me, or something happened. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna sit around and listen to music and paint. Well, I was listening to the Black Crowes song, Diamond Ring. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna draw a diamond ring, and then just kind of go crazy from there. All right, and then this had, like, I just covered this up because I decided I didn't like that. Whatever, it was like some weird heart. And who was at the studio? She goes, you should put not a bird, but not a fairy.
Like a goddess.
Like a goddess of some sort. So that's where that all came in. And I changed, and I put a forest in here too. And I know, but,
So I was right, it was inspired by music.
yes, it was. Yes, it was. But I mean, yeah, but it's just the ring idea, and then from the, yeah, I guess from there I just started.
Well, there's just so much going on that you could just get lost in this and spend so much time looking.
I
don't even know what I would.
Too much.
Well, sometimes more is more.
Say what?
Sometimes more is more. You know, like they always say more, less is more. Well,
Right.
sometimes more is more. You know, like it just had, like I think with less, it would be less of a painting.
Yeah.
I think the style and everything that you have done to it, like, don't take anything out.
No.
And you know, in fact, be sure that whatever you do here, that you don't have leave this big white, that it like it all gets divided more or less like you've done. And it really does look trippy in a good way and in a happy kind of way. So like I said, I don't even know what you can say that it's abstract, you couldn't say that it's realistic, you could say that it's kind of dreamy, or it's you know, it's far out there, and I just think
where's it go? Like,
and I just think there'd be so many people that would enjoy looking at this and get a smile out of it.
Yeah.
And then this is also yours?
Oh yeah.
Okay, the two sides of you. Here is
If you were only pictures of my dog, I have.
and then here we go right to realism, and it's everything that this painting is not. It's measured in the sense that it's literally measured, and it's precise, and it is nothing. It's like two different people are up here.
Now, the interesting thing about this is in December, right before Christmas, I had fell outside on my front lawn on the ice and sprained my right hand. And I sprained where I couldn't even, I couldn't paint because I couldn't, you know, I couldn't use my fingers, so I couldn't even hold it. So, June, I don't know if it was you or if it was Denny. Someone said, you know what, why don't you pick up that paintbrush with your left hand? So that is left-handed.
I think it was Denny.
I
was talking to you after you already started.
Yeah.
So she's like, this is me left-handed, this is me right-handed. This is me. This is called brain. This is my hand. This is my well, are you a Gemini? Are you a Gemini?
I am.
Oh.
Yes, I am.
I'm good, aren't I?
Yeah, that wasn't.
I think, I don't know this dog, but I feel like I know this dog. And I feel like this dog's nose doesn't need to be certain. This is one of these dogs that when you stand there and you go, oops!
Yeah.
Oh, there's his nose. You know, and I don't know this dog, but what a character. I think you captured, for your dog, the personality. Thank you. I was writing out. I used up my quote. I used up my quote of words for today. So sorry. And I think that you really did capture your dog's personality, even though I don't know your dog. But I can just picture this big slobbering, lumbering dog of love.
That's exactly what she is.
The dog of love. And so even though you use the mat board to do this, and you should think about just doing kind of these things with the paint, and instead of the mat board, like just painting like rectangles on there.
Right on top of the mat.
Right on top of the page of the dog.
Oh, okay.
Like you don't need no stinking mat.
Right. What they did was they took.
Yeah, I like that.
She took the mat and then cut a thin slice from inside the mat.
Oh.
And then
put it like
that to the side.
And so I suggested she could do that, or if she wanted to, and she's putting it without glass, the other thing would be just a paint a rectangle. Or and because see how this mat is kind of modeled, and that's kind of what you did here. And so I thought it was all painted until I got closer, like, oh, that's the mat itself. So you can duplicate this with the paint. You don't need no stinking mat. Get out of here, man.
Yeah.
I want to know if that was completed all left-handed.
All up to every single piece, even them whiskers.
Okay. Do you write with your left hand?
No.
Ever?
No.
Have you ever painted with your left hand?
No, that was my third. I did 3 Lefty, I'm calling it Lefty Lucy, and I'm actually thinking about doing a series of left-handed Lucy. So,
Is that the dog's name?
yeah.
Oh, that's all, that's, okay.
Cute.
Yeah, oh, that's really.
So yeah, there's 3 of them, and that's the one that kind of just got me because I really like the colors.
And you have.
And then I had one of those things. I got it at an art store on accident. It was a plastic thing like that, and then each side had a different thing
To make the texture.
Yep, to have the different textures.
Oh,
They
yeah.
they had different sizes on each end. So
Rock and roll forever.
rock and roll, and Lucy. Well, I'll let you know when my series comes out. Yup. That was my first painting, was Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I painted Lucy sitting on the clouds, like reclined, and then she's got diamonds all over.
This one's a finished and this is a work in
Work in
progress.
progress. And tell me about your work methods or something about you as an artist. Or-
Well, I did these both with, we do, oh, yeah.
Apples made the paper. Come on back. Yes, the apples made the paper.
Yes, the apples made the paper. So I started doing these Zoom along painting things where we all are in our home studios and painting together. And one of my friends told me about this watercolor mentors Facebook group where they're not going to tell you how wonderful your painting is. They're going to tell you what's wrong with it. And so I put the apples in there. And they gave me some very good tips. And then I was very happy with that. And so I framed it and stuff. And then this other one I did at the last Zoom thing, and it was a photograph. Well, the apples here were apples on a still life sitting in front of me. The background on these and everything are extra out of my mind. And I was hungry, so I ate one of the apples. So that's why I called it temptation. With a double meaning. And then the Hawaiian is a picture that I took 30 years ago. And the 2 little girls in the background are kind of my daughters when they were little in the Hawaiian outfits doing the hula. And so the idea is how I got on the apples, where I've got these faint leaves and impressions.
Right.
That's what I'm aiming to do in the background. I got some flowers by her hand started, and I'm trying to work like a leaf above the little girl's head. Kind of a jungle look in the background.
So I think what you did really well, in particular this, is that you let the transparency of the watercolor do what it does. With, watercolor being a transparent medium. And so I think that with all these layers and letting the water do a lot of your work for you and not overworking the paint, that's probably what contributed to this being successful. I think the other thing is that the juxtaposition of the red and the green opposite the color wheel also is working very well in your favor. And using using blue in here or violet, whatever you use to get those shadows. Also, they're not all apple cup cutouts, right? They're not just red apples. So you have a variety in there of color and value that I think is really working here. And for this one, I would really maybe keep my focus on this figure and keep them a little more less defined, as though they're dancing in the past, or they're kind of like a spirit to the dance. And then you don't really need to do a lot of definition over here. And if you did want to, play with this figure a little more, you could. This could become more of a focal point, and it's almost then will be where that this figure is calling forth these dancers.
So you don't think I need to put a lot of jungle in the background and turn the shadows into leaves and flowers?
I don't think that you do, because I feel like your brush strokes have kind of a dance to them right now. I mean, you could do like you did here and kind of suggest a little more.
Yeah.
Maybe put a little blue in here or a little blue green to kind of push this toward the back more, because the blue would do that and then would make this pop out. But I I just be cautious not to overwork something that's very fresh and lively right now.
Oh, okay.
So, I'd be interested to hear what your group has to say. If they say like, no, but all those stuff back there. So,
I think a little bit back there, even an outline or something.
just maybe just a little something here and there, but I wouldn't overwork too much and
I
because
sense the movement with the way you have it now.
Yeah.
well because you have this stroke here, which kind of
Yeah.
mimics here,
The theme was motion.
and you have it. So don't lose it by piling a bunch of stuff on and stopping the motion.
That's good.
Oh,
Good luck. I'm glad I don't have to do it. And the artist known as
Rose.
Rose. Rose, tell me about your
I tried to look that up.
about what you do and a little bit about something about here.
Well, the female version of
The dancer.
thank you.
Flamingo.
The flamingo.
Flamingo, yeah. We were in Spain, so I took a picture of them dancing, and I wanted to do a painting of it, and that's what I came up with.
Uh-huh.
And so that was good. And then this is California sunset.
Mm-hmm.
My son lives out there, and so in the nighttime, I just took a picture, and then that was my painting of that. Yeah.
So anything I said about black, can you relate to it?
I was just thinking the same thing. That you had that.
So in this, you could have also put, this could have been just like a really deep purple too, instead of really deep, instead of like the black. You could substitute like this even darker and deeper. Even like as soon as when you look at the sky, I think, oh, it's a black night. It's not really like pure black exists on polar bears' noses and in our pupils. Like there's not, so you can have, and you're already playing with color anyways. Yeah. So why not make these wait, isn't there a song about Purple Hills or something?
Yeah.
Some American song.
Yeah.
And so you might think about when you have to do something that's silhouetted or dark, maybe try a little something like look at the variety you have down here, and this is really beautiful down here. And fact that you have like this rosy colors, and you have a little bit of blues and purples, and you could take one of these and make it a deeper version of itself, and you could put it right, and you could put it right there if you wanted to.
Okay.
Or sometimes too the sky gets reflected into the water. So anything that you used here, you could start introducing it to the water. And this, and then is this like the edge of the water? Is what's this black?
The water
You're like, I just don't remember.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's a waterfall.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then
We'll go with that.
Okay. I don't know. What are you seeing? What are you seeing, doctor? And so continue to play with black, and if nothing else, that's what I say. If nothing else, if you take your black and you take out the tube, put a little blue in it.
Oh.
So this is a little trick that we did when we did printmaking at Wayne State. Is that if we had black ink, we had to modify it with blue or brown. Oh, so you could start with the black, and you could add to the black some color to it to give it some body. Okay, you know what I would love to see with this, because flamingo dancers are so flamboyant. I wish this had like an over the top, really fancy gold frame.
Oh yeah.
I feel like the frame should be white and gold and lots of curls and things, just like you would that kind of thing, and not this. and not just to think about, like when you're framing, like she deserves black.
Yeah.
Like this is a woman of great assertion, and you better give her some gold, miss, and you better write it soon. So Do you ever, and you know, like if you ever go to a frame shop to have anything framed, they always have those little corners. And you can put like the little corners on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it would kind of really, in a tongue-in-cheek way, really push it over the edge.
Yeah, that's
It'd
a
be
very
kind of
good
fun.
idea. Thank
Because, you know, life is so short, as we learned in the past.
yeah.
As we learned in the past year.
Okay.
Go cray cray, it's Monday.
These here,
Canvas.
Canvas.
these here, I just begun painting in
Yes.
May. Okay, and this was like my fourth painting. Okay, and I haven't looked at them in a while, but I know that this needs something. I was thinking maybe of a sailboat or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that needs, see, this is before I learned that you have to layer paint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna go and fix it more.
Okay, and acrylic,
Yes.
and you have, is this initials?
We're good on time.
Yeah, this is my name.
Okay.
No, I don't even. Yeah, Marilyn Jane Bardill, MLIS. I have a master's in library science. See, I was so busy studying, I didn't have no kind of art.
So,
I just started.
what, do we need to know this?
Yeah.
Okay, then leave it on there.
Those are my credentials.
Then leave it
I
on
don't
there.
have time for those things.
No, but what's that to do with the painter?
Well, that's because I'm not during your life, not during the library, I'm painters.
This wasn't because they got their nose in their books instead of their nose in their paint. So let's.
They used to let my library.
Oh, I want to make sure you don't run into that.
Okay, in library school, because here I am, you know, with the Thunderbird, with the big sports engine and everything, you know, one of those sports Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
There with all the stuff underneath them and everything. And I dressed like a hippie and went to library school.
That sounds like, well, how else will the revolution happen if we don't have hippies in the libraries telling us what we need to read?
Right.
That's how change
So
happens in the
Dr.
world.
McCullough used to smile at me and laugh. And the thing is, I was the one that was always speaking up in class.
That's right.
You know, they said I was
Power to the people.
They said that I
New
was
library books.
what, learned student in the library science program.
There you go. Good. So where are you getting your images from?
Okay, this is just my imagination.
Okay. So in that case, do you guys have a plein air group down here? Where, so.
We get out in nature.
We do.
Yeah, so when it gets warm and they say it's time to go plein air painting, you say, I'm coming along.
Okay.
So that you are looking at something that is in front of you, which plein air is painting outside. And this is what the Impressionists did.
Okay.
They went, this was a big revolutionary thing when the Impressionists did this. With the invention of being able to put paint in a paint tube instead of storing it in a pig's bladder, you could go outside and paint. And that's what you will become Monet. And that's what Monet did, and that's what Monet and the Impressionists did. They went outside. And then you see that the way that the world is out there, and then you'll really be blown away. But coming from your head, well, and just starting in this year.
Yeah, well, 20 years ago, I did like 8 or 9 oil paint. But my husband wouldn't let me paint because I make a mess. He was afraid I was going to make a mess since we have white forever carpeting. So he told me, I said, this is my calling, I got to paint. So he said, okay, you can paint acrylic. And guess who gets it all over?
Oh, my dog is. Okay.
So I did paint 8 more.
So you did, you had some painting.
Yeah, I had 8, yeah.
I mean, wait. So where do you guys, so we have the Detroit River downriver. And so you can always go to the river to see water, and then this distance.
Yeah, I have a canal house on Lake St Clair.
So you see,
I see the water,
you get to see water.
I just see it from outside, but I'll go outside and paint.
No, that's wonderful that you have access to.
It's just a canal.
But just a canal.
Yeah,
Waterside you know, you got waterfront property that's not the water in your basement, so that's good.
Right, but it's from one of the, there's only 2 inlets, the south, and it's the second one that comes out, and there's the main.
But that's good. You can go
so it gets a lot of movement.
right, and so you can go look at water. See, this is really nice down here. And one of the things I also thing I do with my students when they're not quite sure about something is I say and you can do this on acrylic, easy. Take chalk. Just take a piece of colored chalk and draw on it, so that like this little thing here that ends like this. What if this came down a little more? Okay, and then disappeared more over here, and maybe disappeared more over here. Or this comes down and then reappears a little bit over here and then disappears again. Well, you could easily draw that first with chalk. And if you don't like it, you can take your finger, you can spit on it or lick it. No, you don't ever want to lick it. Okay, you're like, what is she an obsession with? It tastes great. No, I know what happened with Vincent Van Gogh when he did that, and I'm not going to do that. But it's a way of putting a drawing on top of it where you can try out an idea, and you can say, maybe I'll just might go over here a little bit. Maybe I make it a little bit higher. And then you can also make sure that these have so if these are farmland, could there be where you have these, and if these are trees, and they could be similar to that, and then could there be another layer that's half its size down here, which would be the smaller trees and bushes, and they could be handled the same way. And then you would have more of a sense of here, then depth, and then another, and then this, and then the sky. So one of the things that I like to think about is think of them in terms of like being in a theater and the scrims that come down. Like this is the first one, and then there's another layer that comes down, and it's a little trim, and that's way back here. And then there's another layer that would come down. That'd be maybe the little bushes down here, and then we have the water, and then we have this in the foreground where the big by the stage, right? And then this is where all the action would take place. So, and then pay attention to with water. That as the waves go this way, as the water is broken up going this way, the waves get closer together visually, so that all these lines could become closer together, and then they could spread out wider as they come to you, and look to see whether they go like this or whether they kind of go like this. And then at the very end, if you want it, turns out to be a breezy day. Could look at there, close the clouds. If you kind of can dry brush, you can just drag the brush. Oh, something! I got something on me.
Yeah, I got some chalk on there.
Oh, there you go. You're already chalking it.
Yeah, I've been using chalk. See, I think some of this stuff is chalk. See, what I do is I take the chalk and make highlights with it. That's what I've been doing, and then I can't play with it, the paint.
Oh, well, that's kind of what I said about chalk. Putting chalk on there.
Yes.
Okay, so then, but if this is the case, then you should probably seal it so that it doesn't come off.
Yeah, well, it's brand new.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, you're still working.
Yeah, that's what I said. So I didn't know what to do with it because it seemed too plain. It's too plain to be a picture. Yeah.
And so you still want more?
Yes, I want
because
more.
It's really heavy over here.
Right.
And so maybe putting a little more ground over here.
Maybe to bring it over like this. So, yeah. And I was trying to, and maybe even a little bit here.
Right. Yeah. A little more something.
Yeah.
To give us some kind of balance.
Right, because it was off balance. That's why. But you can see the white in here. And then once you spray it, it looks better. You know what I mean? It kind of pops it.
What are they doing?
Like she's just going like this. You know how it's just nice looking at everything. She's kind of like,
hello,
beautiful. Yeah, what a wonderful day. She's just enjoying her day.
Think about adding some blues in the tree. You know, add some more value in the tree. Add a little bit of darks. They kind of are all medium, and medium green and light green. So maybe make a little more value in your green, in the greens, and get some little more depth in there. No, they're absolutely kind of.
Yeah, but that's my third picture, so.
Oh, yeah. So don't give up. Don't give up.
Keep going.
Keep going. You got some really nice things with the values in here, the way that you're handling the green in here, and just don't ever give up.
No, I don't.
I know, because otherwise you'll be back to doing library stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, well, what I was is I also got my teaching degree. And I was a media specialist.
Who's this?
Linda, I think, is the one. I don't know if you're both.
Yeah.
Are you both of them? No, I'm the flower.
And do I know you?
I don't think so.
What's your last name?
I have been in the Detroit Society group, but it's been a long
Yeah,
time.
okay. So this is wonderful. It's just with the color, the energy, the way you handle it. I feel like I've seen something like. Is it typical of what you do? Have I seen something like this before?
Pretty much. Yeah.
And what I think is particularly impressive is we know this tree is fallen down. These are the roots. But the way that you depicted it and the color choices that you made, so that it almost is like, yeah, these are the roots, or are these branches coming up new? Yeah. So you kind of play with making the viewer question what they're looking at, and you, as the tree has been turned upside down, you kind of turn our expectations of what we're looking at upside down as well. And really these bright, vibrant colors that maybe not weren't there in nature. It takes a certain amount of boldness to Marilyn, go drop something. And I think that if you could, like, if you can mentor Marilyn with her trees and stuff, and like the colors that she used, that would be an awesome thing. And like this neon, I'm sure it didn't look like this. I'm sure a lot of this is intuitive, and I'm sure a lot of this comes because you probably have done this for many, many, many years.
I've done it for a while.
Yeah, and so you're at a point where that you probably are you intuitively know what you need to do. And whereas when you're first starting out, sometimes you're struggling with what's my next step. And I don't think this is not your first rodeo or your first painting.
No.
Okay. And it was good to see you, and I do recognize your name.
Thank you.
And that's fine, and it's not finished. And I like flowers, animals, and fish. Those are what I really like to do the most. And I usually work from photographs because I cannot pull things out of my mind. They just don't come out right. So that's why I usually work from a photograph, but I don't copy it. I change it around, do things different. And this is a croton plant. And I need a few comments on advice of what you would do to improve it.
I would say put down the brush.
Oh, you would?
That you might, so maybe I would do a little bit of this darker in here and here.
A little more darker spots.
Just there, but not a lot.
Okay.
I would say put down the brush. I think it looks pretty. It looks pretty complete to me.
Oh, okay.
Just break this up a little bit. This big chunk of this light here, and then I would say stop.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is a case where you're just gonna be putting more paint on.
Okay.
And I think that pretty much that there's not a whole lot more. So when you say what to do to improve it, I don't know what to tell you because I feel like it's done. I feel like it doesn't need a whole lot, just a little bit more of this darkness and maybe some more little, break this up. We'll see how this is, see how you have kind of like this patterning down here, and up here, put a little more of that up here.
Oh, okay.
And then I would just leave it as an abstract painting of these flowers. And I don't think you need to do a whole lot more.
Okay.
Am I right?
I like
Am I right? Like stop while you're ahead. It's paint. You can just do whatever.
Well, paint was not my real beginning medium. It was watercolor or watercolor pencil. But I got into the acrylics now, and since I've got the materials I want to use them up,
use them up. Go on to the next thing.
Well, I don't know, but I kind of liked it after I got into it. So
yeah, and I just think all this white in here really adds a nice place for your eyes to go. And we don't even have to know what kind of plant this is to enjoy the explosion of color and form and shape that you have put here.
Oh, okay, thanks.
And, who's this? Is this yours? And what's your name?
Rick.
Richard.
Just call me Rick.
And what's your last name?
Let's spell R-U-F-F. Ruff.
Ruff.
This is our 3 daughters.
And what is the medium?
Colored pencil. That's just at the very beginning. It's got a long way to go.
Oh, okay. So she's pretty done and she's getting done and then she's on her way to being done. And I just think, what are you gonna do in the background? Do you have an idea?
It's a blue sky with the white clouds in the back. I still have a little more, probably I'm trying to show a light shade in the faces because the sun is hitting.
Well, I did color
sunglasses.
Right, I did color pencil myself for a number of years, and it's really hard to get those skin tones. And what I really appreciate about what you've done so far is that the lavenders and the peaches in the skin, and that you didn't just say which is the skin color, or which pencil here's skin color, and that you have this, and that you captured their personalities. And like, this is really the eyeglasses. Like she is so well done. Don't do much more on her face, because here's a tendency sometimes, maybe not with you, but with some, is that this part's going really good. I love this part. This is my favorite part. I think I'm going to go work on my favorite part some more. I'm going to keep working on my favorite part because I really don't want to work on this part because I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to go back to my favorite part. I'm pretty sure your favorite part is not your favorite part because you've overworked it. So leave well enough alone and move on. The other thing that you really did you do a lot of colored pencil?
What's that?
Did you do a lot of colored pencil?
I've done some.
Okay, because the figure is that it's so hard to do teeth well.
Yeah.
And and you did make chiclet teeth, like chiclet teeth. They look like they're in their mouth, and they look like human teeth. You know what you know what I'm talking about. When you I'm just putting little squares out here for the teeth. And so I also like the fact that they're kind of sharing this hair. And so I was like, what are you gonna do in the background? Like, does it need a lot of description in the background? Could it just be that blue? And if there's any,
they're all blonde.
yeah, if there's any clouds in the sky, they have to be there. Could this just kind of have some kind of different values of blue in the back, which would be really nice with that blonde hair. And so I kind of like how they're like the 3 graces. Mm-hmm. And and so and I almost, how this kind of fades like it's not finished. I like that it's not finished, like that the emphasis is on their faces, and as it's gone away, you don't have to describe it. So sometimes you can be finished, and it doesn't have to have every single bit of the paper or the canvas covered with something. And so I think, right, do you see what I'm saying, people? Do you see what I'm saying? So do you see what I'm saying, like right here, that could kind of just fade away, and that our attention is just grabbed onto here, and maybe a little bit of blue goes back here, and that too kind of gets faded away.
I should develop the hair more, perhaps,
right, like her hair's a little, right, and just a little more, but just kind of let it go off. and so, because here's what's important is their faces. This is what you love.
Yeah.
Is right here. Yeah. And so who cares about what the rest of it was? Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. Yeah. And put it in a nice wide white mat. Go have it when you're all done. Treat yourself to having it professionally framed.
Oh yeah, you want to give it to each girl.
Yeah.
The picture.
Okay.
When it's done.
It's a blue sky back there, so to put the blue sky behind them, because they're outside.
Right. Well, you can even if you just kind of hatched in some blue, just to give it some, so that they will come forward a little bit. You could do that. Mm-hmm. So remember, you can use a photo for a reference, but you're drawing. You're not making a photo. You're not making a photo of a photo. So you can change the photo. So you can say like, it's not a sky, it's just blue back there. And I can picture some like cross hatching with different blues and purples back here. And so, you know, you don't have to do no photograph if you don't want to.
You've been working from a photograph.
Right, just because you're working from a photograph doesn't mean you have to put everything that's in the photograph in the artwork.
You do that?
Mhm. Yeah, right. So, yeah, you're probably very diligent about your work.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I'm 5 minutes past. Oh, well.
Oh, you're
So I-
great.
Oh, well.
You're wonderful.
Thank you.